topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning, Georgia. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the finest experts in the state of Georgia in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Today's expert, who's been with us for a long time, is probably one of our most popular shows. I got to tell, I have learned so much from our doctor. Because I got so many great questions today, let me just get right to Dr. Eldred Taylor, Taylor Medical Group. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, you want to check their website out at www.taylormedicalgroup.net. Anything that has to do not just with weight loss, but identifying health issues that he just had such a great specialty. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Hey, good morning, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. It's always so good to talk to you, no matter what subject we're talking on. You just bring a whole different light to the table. Your knowledge is just so amazing. Now we've expanded the show to all of Georgia, not just the Atlanta area. Tell people, you've got such a great story. Tell people about yourself and your practice.
The name of our practice is the Taylor Medical Group. I practice there with my wife, Dr. Ava Bell Taylor, and we've been practicing together for probably the last 15 years. But I originally was trained as an OBGYN at Emory University. I went to undergrad at Vanderbilt. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Came here to go to medical school. Been here for almost 40 years now. But anyway, practiced OBGYN like everybody else did pap smears, delivered babies, did hysterectomies. And that was fine until my wife started having some hormonal issues. I was telling her to do some of the things that I was telling my patients to do, and I saw that it wasn't working, like birth control pills and whatever. And I had a patient that came in and asked me about the natural or bioidentical hormones. And I did some research so I could tell her that she shouldn't be doing that. And lo and behold, I found out that that's exactly what I should be doing. So we wrote a book called Are Your Hormones Making You Sick back in 2000. And since then, I have kind of broadened my horizons to look at things in a more functional or holistic way and not in a pharmaceutical way. So I really focus on how to help the body function as best it can for as long as it can. And usually that is giving the body what it originally was functioning with, and not with some drug that was discovered, 2 years ago or 3 years ago or whatever. So I primarily focus on bioidentical hormone replacement. We focus on IV therapy. I think today we're going to talk about using peptides, which are these amino acids that your body normally uses, and what they can do to increase the function of several organ systems. I think we've talked about a few in the past, but there's so many. I just want to highlight a few that can be helpful to, some of the listeners.
Dr. Taylor, every time when your show is about to come up, I think of walking into a GNC and telling them I want to lose weight, and they give me a pill.
Yeah.
Whereas functional medicine that you practice, you're going to find out, first of all, what the cause is, because there's not a cookie cutter pill out there.
Yeah.
And you're going to find out what the causes are, which makes so much of a logical sense.
Yeah. If you go into a GNC and say, I feel tired, I'm low in energy, or I want my hair to grow or whatever, you can look on that shelf and there'll be 30 different products. And, you just have no idea. You'll get overwhelmed. And what you end up doing is asking a salesperson who may have just gotten a job 3 weeks ago, what do they think you should get? And
Right.
that's just that's probably not going to be beneficial. But yeah, if you know what the cause is, and let's say adrenal function, and we've talked about that in the past. Adrenal function, if you do a test and you see that your adrenal function is below average, you have to know, okay, what does the adrenal gland need in order to function normally? The adrenal gland makes cortisol, and cortisol is your stress hormone. So the adrenal gland needs vitamin C, B5, and B6. That's what it needs to function to recover. So when you see that's not working, we say, okay, I know how to make that work better. Let me give you these 3 things. And also things like adaptogens like ginseng and rhodiola. You give that and you'll see that the adrenal function increases. And when I talk about adrenal function, that's what gives you your normal rhythm of energy, where you should have your most energy when you first wake up. It goes down as the day goes on. You get tired at night, and then you recover and sleep, and you wake up, and now you have your most energy again, and it goes all over. Happens all over again. So that's what you want to. That's how you want to function. But there's so many people who don't function like that. They wake up tired. They get to the end of the day and they can't go to sleep, or they wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So they're in this perpetual tired state. But you need to know that's the cause, because there's other things. You can be low in progesterone. Your iron can be low. And I'll tell you, I see all the time that people, they're tired and they think they need iron, or they think their CBC or their blood count is down. They'll go to the doctor, their CBC is fine, and then they wonder why they're still tired. I'll tell you, 7 times out of 10, it's poor adrenal function due to chronic stress. So it's important to know what's going on. And I wanted to talk about peptides, because peptides can also energize systems, just like I'm talking about the adrenal function, vitamin C, all that stuff. You can enhance brain function. You can enhance growth hormone function. You can enhance sexual function. There's all types of peptides out there to help your body function normally. And again, I'm not trying to get somebody to be some bodybuilder, with these, extraordinary.
Right.
We're just trying to get you to be normal again. And so many people don't feel normal. They don't feel like their brain is functioning normal. They don't feel like they're sexually active normally. They don't feel like, they feel like they're aging prematurely. So that's all we're trying to do, is function as well as you can for as long as you can.
Well, before we get completely into the show, and a lot of people don't know what functional medicine is, explain to everybody what type of health issues you see in the office.
Well, I'll tell you, probably the number one complaint I get is fatigue. Is that people are just saying, hey, I wake up tired, I go to bed tired, I don't seem to sleep. And if I do sleep, I'm not rested when I wake up. That's probably number one. And that's why we wrote this book called The Stress Connection, because usually people feel like that if they have been experiencing long-term stress. Your body is equipped to handle acute stressors. Hey, I'm running from a tiger. We always hear about that. Your body's not equipped to deal with 12-hour work days, or parents who are sick, and kids who are not doing what you want them to do, a marriage that's falling apart. All of these stressors that can take place, and then environmental stressors. being exposed to all types of toxins in your food, all of those things that are piled upon each other, your body is not really equipped to do that long term. You can handle some of that stuff when you're younger, but when you're older, your body needs to be replenished with what it needs in order to handle those stress. And because of our food supply and how non-nutritious that our food is, we actually do need to be given things to help us function. And you can do that through supplements. We do a lot of IV therapy because, believe it or not, our gut does not work like it should. It doesn't absorb things like it should due to a variety of insults that you might have exposed your body to through preservatives and all these things. So anyway, we do a lot of IV therapy, and it works very well. So fatigue is one thing we look at. We see I see a lot of women, especially going through menopause and having difficulty with weight gain and hot flashes and can't sleep. We see a lot of that. We actually see cancer patients who the chemotherapy and other therapies have really depleted their body of several issues. And we give them vitamin C and NAD and things like that so that they can recover from the stress that uh, they've experienced by giving their body poisons to kill the cancer. But it doesn't necessarily only kill the cancer. It kills a lot of healthy cells, and it depletes the function of other organ systems that are not being targeted by the cancer. So those are the things we do. We try to see why someone is not functioning at a high level, and we try to provide the body what has been depleted. So, if you were functioning normally at 20, you had all the things you needed to function normally. Now at 40, if you're not functioning, then you probably depleted some of the core ingredients of the core vitamins and minerals that you had 20 years ago. So we try to replace those so that your body can function. It's just like a car. If it's 20 years old, but you keep it, you replace the spark plugs and you replace it with the original equipment, you can get that car to last a lot longer. And we're just fine-tuned. Our body is just fine-tuned machines, but it needs to be have regular maintenance and upkeep. So that's what we try to do.
And first, you need to find out what it is that's causing it, which is where you come in.
Yeah, and so we do salivary testing to look at adrenal function, to look at hormones. We do food sensitivity testing because sometimes if you're eating foods that you're sensitive to, it causes inflammation. And inflammation can cause all kinds of problems, from heart disease to difficulty with digestion. And inflammation is a killer, and you need to know where that inflammation is coming from. So we do a lot of testing. We look at regular blood work, but hormones, and the reason really why we wrote those two books is to show how do you test for hormones and how do you test for stress. And you do those with saliva testing. I have a saying that you cannot manage what you cannot measure. So you need to be able to measure hormones, measure cortisol, so you can manage it. Just like you can't manage blood pressure if you don't measure the blood pressure. You can't manage cholesterol if you don't measure cholesterol. But when I was going through training, we never measured hormones. We never measured female hormones, even though I was an OBGYN. And we never measured stress. We would tell them, oh, you need to manage your stress better. Well, you need to be able to measure it. How stressed, how is my body responding to the stress? Is it able to do it or not? So you need to measure. And if you look at these things in the blood, it really doesn't tell you anything. If you look at it in saliva, it can actually measure what is going on, and then you can manage it.
I want to let everybody know that is listening on radio right now that you can go to www.taylormedicalgroup.net. Make sure it's .net to write Dr. Taylor. There's a lot of things he can do through video medicine, and it's just he's just so amazing. We're talking about peptides. What are peptides, Dr. Taylor?
Yeah, peptides are these, we know what proteins are, but peptides are small proteins, and all proteins are made from amino acids. And amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Amino acids are in meats, and really proteins make up a lot of your body, your immune system, antibodies, all these are proteins. But these are just small chains of amino acids that can stimulate enzyme systems to function at a higher level. So most of these are FDA approved. A lot of this research was actually done in Russia over 30, 40 years ago, but peptides have gotten to be, very popular in the functional medicine community, because these small doses that really don't have any significant side effects, if they're given properly, can really stimulate systems to work uh, very well. So they can help with brain function. They help with growth hormone function, which can help to heal injuries. They can help with mood disorders. There's peptides that help with ED, and even help with female libido. There are enzymes that can, with brain function, even with people who have traumatic brain injuries or dementia or Alzheimer's. It seems to either slow down the progress of that disease or actually turn it around. And there's also a peptide that seems to be able to increase longevity. It's called epithalon, and there's these little caps on your DNA that are called telomeres. And these telomeres, as you get older or you have more damage to your body, these telomeres get smaller, and they have been shown to indicate longevity, how long you're going to live. You can measure telomeres and say, oh, wow, my telomeres are shortened, and that may influence my longevity or my ability for my that DNA to regenerate and allow systems to recover. So epithalon has been shown to actually lengthen telomeres, which means that it has been shown to increase longevity. So, that's pretty important to a lot of people. And you want to, even if
How do
you
you
live
measure
long,
those stuff, Taylor?
you can measure it in the blood. There's a lab that
In the
that
blood.
measures.
Okay.
Yeah, they take the blood. Somehow they extract the DNA from it, and they can look at this. Well, they look at the telomeres, and there's also this enzyme called telomerase. And if you increase that telomerase, it lengthens telomeres. So they're looking at both of those. And then you take the epithalon. It's an injection that you give yourself every day for 10 days, and you do that twice a year. And over the course of 3 to 4 years, they've shown that telomeres will lengthen. So that's pretty cool. And there's legitimate studies that show that can happen.
And what does a person notice?
Well,
10 days.
Well, what should happen is that they see that they're, people like, oh, I think I'm having this because of old age and whatever. See that their body is more resilient. It enhances immune function. It should help you to recover from injury quicker. It should hopefully take away some aches and pains because your body's able to repair itself more easily. So that's what you can feel, but some of it is just to retest the telomeres in 2 or 3 years, and you see that they're lengthened, and that's just encouraging to say, hey, maybe I've added a couple of years to my life, and
Right.
that I'm going to live a little bit longer and hopefully be healthy in those extra years. Because I won't say nobody, but I don't necessarily want to live to 90 if I'm sick and debilitated from age 70 to 90. I'm
Exactly.
yeah, I'm living 20 extra years where I'm miserable the whole time.
Right.
I'd rather live to 80, 85 and be healthy than to be totally, debilitated for 20 years. So, that's just if I have a choice, but, people don't have a choice. I mean, sometimes, but there's things you can do to try and increase your odds of, living a long, healthy life.
I know you just mentioned it briefly, but with the peptides, are there side effects?
Not really. For something like a Pithalon, it's either going to work or it's not going to work. There's really no side effects. Now, there are some of the peptides, especially when you're looking at growth hormone. There's something called sermorelin and ipamorelin. There's a lot that increase your body's ability to make growth hormone. Some people will say, "Wow, if you increase growth hormone, it can increase the chance of you stimulating something that you don't want to grow." Now, most people will say that's a issue if you're actually giving someone growth hormone, because you can overdose them and maybe you can't have that happen. But these peptides are really supposed to allow your body to start making a normal amount of growth hormone. And growth hormone is important, of course, when you're a kid to grow, but we're not talking about that. But growth hormone is very important in repair of damaged tissue. That's why these athletes are getting in trouble taking growth hormone, because they're trying to get back to playing professional baseball or basketball. And some of them will try to take growth hormone, but they're testing for that now because they're getting an unfair advantage of being able to heal from injury quicker. So that's probably the one thing that can be an issue. But if you're taking these peptides, it's not actually giving your body growth hormone. It's just trying to restore a normal amount of growth hormone, because when you're 30, you can recover from an injury a lot easier than when you're 60. So if you can do something to stimulate that growth hormone production, maybe you can recover from that injury and get back. And all you're trying to do is get in the gym, just to maintain your health. But a lot of times as you get older, you get injured just by doing a normal routine. So this can help with that. There's also another peptide called BPC 157. It's body protection compound. And that has been shown, you can inject that. Let's say you hurt your shoulder. You can inject the BPC 157, and you're not trying to get it in the joint. You can just do it sub-Q, means right underneath the skin. And that has been shown to help regrow tissue and help to heal injuries. And you can actually inject that into anywhere. If you hurt your elbow, you inject it there. And just if it's in that area, it's been shown to accelerate repair of damaged tissue. That's a very popular one. It's BPC 157. And that doesn't seem to be stimulating growth hormone. It's just something about that peptide that allows tissue damage to be repaired much more quickly. And you can even take it if you have GI issues, you have inflammation in the gut or whatever. You actually squirt it in your mouth and swallow it, and it seems to heal the gut. So that's a very popular and interesting peptide also.
Well, I got to tell you, our show always goes by so fast, but you're going to be back with us again next week for more Ask the Experts, Dr. Taylor. For those who are listening on radio right now, give them your phone number and your website address.
Yeah, our phone number is 678-443-4000, and our website is taylormedicalgroup.net, net, taylormedicalgroup.net, and you can go there. There's a lot of information on that website. And you can book an appointment, either a virtual or an in-person appointment through that website, or you can feel free to call the office.
Very good. We love having you on. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much, Dr. Taylor.
All right. You're welcome. All right.
That's Dr. Eldred Taylor, the Taylor Medical Group. We're going to take a quick break, and we come back. We're going to go to our next expert. If you're snoring and you want a technique that I'm telling you, it actually works because I'm doing it, we'll be right back.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
And we are back. I got to tell you, our next expert, this is like my favorite show to do. I have sleep apnea. I have sleep apnea so bad that they have me on what's called a BiCAP machine, not a CPAP machine. And our next guest started with us about 6 months ago. And I got to tell you, she has turned my life around. If you snore, and let me tell you something, I know all the tricks. I didn't admit it either that I snored when my friends would tell me that, or my relatives, that when I go to sleep, I snore really loud. I always denied it. I have learned she has techniques that I have never seen before that is going to allow me so far to get off of my BiPAP machine. We're not making any false claims. You can do whatever you want. I'm taking a sleep test this week, but let me introduce you to my good friend, Janet Bennett.
Hello.
Hi, Janet. Oh my God. You have become my best friend.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I'm going to just kind of give everybody a brief background about what you've done for me, and then I'm going to give you the floor,
okay,
because you do it the best. I've been on a CPAP machine for about 5 years. Folks said it's the most uncomfortable way to sleep, but you know what? It does allow me to sleep through the night, so I don't take credit away. When I met Janet and she said that she had developed techniques, and she didn't make any promises. That's what I love about her. She never makes any false claims or promises. This is better than. She just tells you what she has learned. She has been in practice. I'm going to let her tell you about it for a long time as a speech therapist. But she gave me techniques that you can buy her program that is so easy to do. Well, I got to tell you, I got really sick and I could not use my CPAP machine because I was having breathing problems. And from the techniques that I learned from Janet, I slept through the night because I can hear myself snore. So she has developed this, and we work on it, gosh, every week. And what I want you to know now, because there's so many people out there that snore, who deny it, which is the worst thing you can do. Sleep apnea is horrible for your health. And here we have an expert that is going to show you. We're not going to go into a lot of detail because, of course, that's how she makes her living. But it works. And I just want you to know that it is working incredible for me. Good morning, Janet Bennett.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you for having me on today. I'm excited to tell everybody about my program. So let me start by saying that I am a speech pathologist, and I have been working with people who have a tongue thrust. That is when you swallow incorrectly, so it might push the back of your teeth and make like buck teeth, or it might come between your teeth and you have an open bite. So I work with them. I work with people who snore or whose better half says that they snore because they don't always admit it, but that's okay. And the really main reason for that is because snoring can lead to sleep apnea, which is a very dangerous thing to have because it can cause heart problems because you stop breathing and all that stuff. So I'm very passionate about that because one day I was working with a 14-year-old football player. This was in 2003. And I have a 7-week lesson program of different exercises, tongue exercises that you do to strengthen your tongue. So he had done 2 weeks of those exercises, and he came to see me for the 3rd week, and his mom said, "What are you doing to Adam?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, he's always been the loudest snorer in the world. He rattles our windows at our house." And she said, "And now he's not making a sound." And I didn't know anything about snoring, so I looked at Adam and I said, "Adam, tell me what's going on." And he said, "Well," and I see he's a football player. He said, "Well," he said, "I've been able to concentrate more in school now. My grades are getting better, and I run faster." So, me not knowing anything about snoring, I latched on to the fact that he said he ran faster, and I thought that was just that, there's got to be something to this. And so I did research immediately, just thought that or knew that I would find that they were treating snoring with tongue exercises. But no, there was no sign of any tongue exercises. And of course, I was shocked because it was so easy and it happened so quickly and it's harmless. It's all natural. So I noticed that it was doing things like cutting off your uvula or breaking your jaw and pulling it forward or getting a retainer or a CPAP machine. And back then, only 4% of the people who had a CPAP machine actually used it. So we really couldn't count.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Right. The others, it was sitting in their closets. And so fortunately that has grown. More people, they're making it better, easier to sleep with to some degree. So that's improving. But anyway, so I decided that I needed to save the world and realized very quickly that I would not be able to save the world, at least by myself. And so I recruited 86 people all over the United States to be my guinea pigs and to help me form and word the perfect exercise program that would lead a person to stop snoring. And if a person has sleep apnea and they stop snoring, then there's really no way that they can get sleep apnea again, or it would go away because if you're not snoring, so anyway, because all of that's caused by mouth breathing. There's several, obviously, things that come into play here. And so if you are, it makes sense that if your mouth is closed, you aren't going to be snoring. So you won't get sleep apnea. Anyway, so I worked with these 86 people. And we made just a fantastic program that's easy to use. And at the end of 7 weeks, 94% of those people stopped snoring. And that number is just off the chart. You won't find that kind of results with anything, not even the CPAP. And even people with CPAPs, I worked with them too, and they kept using their CPAP machine. But while they were doing their exercises each week, they still started feeling better. So the CPAP obviously wasn't, giving them as much as it could. Maybe it wasn't set correctly or whatever. And so what I discovered is mouth breathing and having a large tongue are two big things that people have to deal with. A lot of people, their tongue, there's hardly any room for it to fit in their mouth. And so whenever they lay down to sleep, all the muscles get real relaxed. And the tongue can easily, because of gravity, start inching its way down and blocking part of the airway. And that would cause the snoring. And it's only when the tongue blocks the entire airway that's sleep apnea, because they stop breathing. And that's when their brain hopefully kind of wakes them up with a snort. And so their bed partner at that time is going, "Phew, he's breathing again." Anyway, so this program, like I said, is all tongue exercises. And you have to do your exercises twice a day, but they're very easy. I have videos that show me teaching someone, an adult male, how to do the exercises. And then I have a video where you can come and do your exercises with me. And I'll count for you or time things. But what it does is it trains your tongue to live on the roof of your mouth, like that. It also trains you to breathe through your nose. If you breathe through your mouth, you're getting warm. No, you're not. You're getting cool, dirty air in your body. And when you breathe through your nose, you get warm, filtered air in your body. Now, what does that have to do with anything, and why does it matter? Well, there's this gas that our body makes. It's called nitric oxide, and it touches all organs. It just regulates everything in your body, just about. It's something that you need while you're sleeping so your body can be rejuvenated, if you will. But anyway, this gas is made in your sinus area. And so if you are breathing through your mouth, you cannot get access to that gas, nitric oxide. And what that means is when you think you are sleeping, you really are not sleeping, because you can never get into REM, R-E-M, REM sleep without the nitric oxide. So I remember growing up, my granddaddy would sit in his lounge chair over on the other side of the room, snoring away, the family moving all around him, but he was snoring. And we just thought, oh, he's sleeping so well. But now I know he wasn't sleeping at all. Okay, so how do you know if you have this problem? If you wake up tired, let's say you've been in bed for 8 hours, you shouldn't wake up tired. If you think you're sleeping and you wake up tired after 8 hours, there's something wrong. You may, excuse me, you may wake up with, excuse me, with the dry mouth like I must have. You may wake up with a dry mouth or a sore throat or headache. You will find that you get sleepy during the daytime. And you also may experience different things like jumpy legs, different things like GERD. You may have trouble concentrating. And what I've learned is, one thing, a lot of people feel like there's something stuck in their throat. And so they go to their doctor, and then they might get sent to a ear, nose, and throat doctor or otolaryngologist, and they're going to look down and they're going to see that there's nothing in their vocal cord area. It all looks normal to them. So they don't know what to do. The person's saying, well, it's something stuck there. I have to cough or clear my throat or drink water to get rid of it. And it happens all the time. And so they're around where I am, they send them to me as being hoarse. And so whenever I start working with them, I point out to them that because they don't swallow properly, they have a weak swallow. And when food goes down, it's not given enough strength to push it down all the way. And so that gets rid of it. And that can go away like within a week whenever you're doing the exercises. I also remembered this story that I read when I was little. It's called The Princess and the Pea. Does anybody remember that story? So this princess was sleeping. I don't know the background. I don't remember the background of the story, but there was this princess who slept on a lot of mattresses. Okay. But she kept complaining of waking up hurting. Her back was hurting. She just wasn't comfortable. And no one could figure out what was wrong with her. Well, then one day they discovered that there was a little pea under all the mattresses. And that's what was disturbing her sleep, as silly as that may sound. It made me realize for sure that all these different issues, dry mouth, sore throat, daytime sleepiness, restless legs, all these different things that are sleep sleep deprivation symptoms, they have a cause. There's something that causes these things to happen. And it seems to me like when people go to their doctors, first of all, the doctors don't seem to ask if they breathe through their mouth. And that's the most important thing. So
Absolutely.
there you go. The doctor doesn't know they're a mouth breather. So the doctor may send them to some other specialist or give some kind of pill or, recommend who knows what, because they still don't know they're mouth breathers. If they knew they were a mouth breather, they would send them to somebody to train them to breathe through their nose, and it would all be taken care of. But that doesn't happen. And so when someone comes to me, I have to figure out what the cause is. So the cause of something like that, of this Princess and the Pea, is that was the P for her. But for people who have problems breathing and swallowing, the cause is that they aren't swallowing correctly, or they're breathing through their mouth, or a lot of different things that can be quickly fixed. And so that's why I want so badly for people to understand that my program is a quick fix, and it does last, because you get in the habit of swallowing differently and breathing through your nose. I have to share one thing that happened yesterday. I'm treating a 13-year-old boy. He is in track at school, and he had lots of different physical problems, and he's on his third week. So yesterday we met, and he said that he was doing the mile run, and yesterday he broke his own record, and he shaved off 35 seconds while running,
Wow.
because that was the first time he was determined to keep his lips closed while he was running. I've seen
Oh
that
my
happen
gosh.
before with professional runners. They're mouth breathing, and when they learn to keep their lips closed, and they get so much better air. And he shaved 35 seconds off. Nobody
That's a
believed it.
lot.
And that kid, don't you know, he had a problem explaining why that was happening.
Yeah, right. That's a
But
lot, Janet.
yeah, I know, it's huge. So a lot of good stuff happens.
Janet, I just want to say, because I've been through this, a lot of people who are watching right now have tried so many different things. And Janet said something. You first need to know what is causing it. It's not a cookie cutter, like you just go put a strip on your nose and you're going to stop snoring. I tried all those. Trust me. This is the first thing that I've ever done, and I've done so many different things by mail. It seems like most of the snoring stuff is by mail, but this is the first time. And I don't know how long term it is, because I just started about a month ago, but I got to tell you, it is working for me. I mean, for me to sleep without my CPAP machine on is
I know.
amazing.
And we have to
I
be
mean, it is
careful. We
amazing.
have to be
And Janet,
careful.
the first thing I did notice, I'm not tired in the morning. That's the first thing I know, because even with the CPAP machine, wow, I mean, you got this machine, it's literally a machine
Right,
on you. And like if you're traveling, you might not want to take a CPAP machine with you.
right.
But Janet has developed these techniques, and I promise you, nothing is 100%. But I will say this: if you'll try them, you're pretty much going to notice a difference, like I did.
Right, right. And now my program has a 60-day money back guarantee. And, I think I can count on one hand how many people have asked for their money back since 2003. And those reasons were either they realized they couldn't breathe through their nose at all. So if you can't physically breathe through your nose, don't buy my program, because you won't live very long. Uh, and the other thing is, there are just a handful of people that I think just wouldn't do their exercises. So they got their money back. But the thing is, if you do your exercises, you can nip that problem in the bud within 7 weeks normally. And that's pretty
Mine
huge.
was actually less than that, Janet.
Well, there are lots of symptoms that go away quickly. I know that teeth grinding is one that goes away very quickly. When you're grinding, it's because you aren't aligned correctly. So it's kind of seeking alignment. But when you train your tongue to live on the roof of your mouth, it aligns your cranial bones. So it would stop that and the clenching. Yeah, it's something that you can go watch me do the exercises. You wouldn't have to even read the exercises. It's my exercise room, and you just go in there and I'll take you through it 2 times a day. You've got to exercise 2 times a day, and it takes about 10, 15 minutes each time, and that's not a lot. I know they did a study in Brazil quite a few years ago, and they had some really strange exercises. And but still, they had like a 35 or 36% success rate that people stopped snoring. Okay, and mine was 94% stopped snoring out of 86 people. And so that's worth thinking about. I'm still waiting for people to tell me I'm crazy and it doesn't work, but they've not told me that.
No, I mean, it's worked for me.
Yeah.
It is, and what the only thing I don't know is I've had some interruptions. I had to go in the hospital, but last night I did not sleep with my CPAP, my BiPAP machine, and I know when I'm snoring. I mean, I can hear it when I'm even when I'm sleeping, and I did not snore last night, and I didn't have those nasal things going up my nose, and I got to also say this about the tongue. I have not bitten my tongue since I started
Now, why is
on
that?
Janet's
What do
program.
you mean? What happened?
I think my tongue is too big for my mouth.
But why haven't you? I haven't introduced the tongue stick. This is the tongue stick that makes your tongue
Yeah,
skinnier. Is that what you were using, Steve?
that's what I'm using.
And
That little stick, it looks like almost like a toothbrush with no brushes on it.
yeah,
I have not bitten my tongue one time.
well, so the stick made your tongue skinnier.
Yes,
Yes, I
the only thing
know.
I can think of.
I know it did. This is I call it the tongue stick. Couldn't think of any other name. And I invented this tool, and it's used specifically to stimulate certain lateral muscles of the tongue. You learn how to do some isometric exercise with the stick in the tongue. It's very easy to learn, but it does make your tongue skinnier. A lot of these exercises, when you perform them, you're practicing retracting your tongue. So if you have a lisp, when you do those exercises, your tongue's going to learn to stay back in your mouth just a little bit, and that's all you need to get rid of that lisp.
Right.
And the lisp can go away at any age. I remember treating an 86-year-old woman whose lisp went away. So it can happen. Age doesn't have anything to do with it.
Janet, tell people how they can reach you for the ones who are listening on radio now.
Okay, my phone number is 828-273-9888. You can email me at liveoutloud at, no, sorry, I'm going to use a different. You can email me at author, AUTHOR, I don't have that up there, author at IJustWantToSleep.com. But call me, email me. I will answer your call, your email. I will answer any questions that you have. The other thing is, whenever you purchase this program, I have now included a free 45-minute consult with me. As soon as you are ready to start the program, I will meet with you and I will do an evaluation and help get you started on the right road with this. And that's huge. I think everyone really is happy whenever they do that. They have much more confidence when they go to do the exercises at home by themselves.
Janet, thank you so much. Janet will be back with us again. We'll be back with you again next week with more Ask the Experts. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.